There we are.
Welcome, everyone, to the Final Fantasy VII 25th Anniversary Celebration Summer Games Fest livestream. Hey, Final Fantasy VII, the game that revolutionized JRPGs as the world knew it.
And it's additional expansion things.
Oh, hey, yeah, having children. It's good to see you.
Look forward for my birthday pick. Before Crisis, the game that the West never played properly.
I wonder if they'll announce finally a localization for that game.
No, we're including it in Ever Crisis, so it makes no real sense to re-release it now.
Dirge of servers, yeah.
Yes, Final Fantasy V. 25th anniversary.
Alright, Square, so show us what you got.
Is it going to be a release of the 7 remake in its complete form on other platforms?
Possibly Steam, yes.
Probably.
Yeah, I can see the keyboard things. So it's a PC release at least.
Well, it was already on the Epic Game Store. They probably just waited until 1 year or 6 months. I forgot how much time has passed. And now we're putting it on Steam. Hopefully this release will be a bit more stable.
But I'm not your sister.
What about an Xbox?
I'm surprised. If it was or also on Xbox, we probably would have announced it at the Microsoft showcase.
This is just wrong.
So, semi-shadow drop.
It's out tomorrow.
So,
皆さんこんにちは。
what's next?
ファイナルファンタジー7 25周年放送。ファイナル
あー
ファンタジー7 25th
はい
Anniversary Celebration
あどうぞ
案内役を務めます北瀬義則です。この放送では FF7 に関連したさまざまな情報をお届けしていきます。短い時間ではありますが、皆様にお伝えしたい最新情報がたくさんありますので、ぜひ最後までお付き合いください。最初にご覧いただいたのはファイナルファンタジー7リメイクインターグレードの Steam 版の配信決定のお知らせでした。
Uh-huh.
You just mentioned
スティーブ
that.
ンユーザーの皆さん、お待たせいたしました。ついにこの日がやってまいりました。
Critical acclaim.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for making us wait for it, Square. But I'm so glad you made more money from it.
昨年はプレイステーション5版、そして PC 向けに
I
は
wonder if the Epic Game Store is really popular in
インターグレー
Japan.
ドを Epic
No,
Games
Teams
Store
Winning
で
just
発売い
prefers
たし
to
ました。
make deals with
こ
companies.
の度 Steam で
Remember,
リリー
it's
スする
also
ので
because Epic Games is
さらに
tied
多
to
くの
China,
プレイヤーの
and
皆さんに
Japan normally
楽し
doesn't
んでい
really
ただ
want
きたい
that much
と
to
考え
And
て
you
い
can
ます。
play it.
また、ファイナルファンタジー7リメイクインターグレードは
I'll
すでに
I'll
一部
pick
地
up the
域で発
console
売されている
version, but
Steam で
Oh, there you go. Remake Integrate is compatible with the Steam Deck.
Steam デックなら場所を選ばず気軽に本作をお楽しみいただけます。さて続いては FF725 周年に関連した情報をご覧ください。
Merchandise and music. A digital clock, Buster Sword.
well, I mean, they're going through each item. You just get a quick look at it. There's no narration over it, so it's like a pretty fancy slideshow.
I mean,
The bangle.
yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Merch is nice and all, but do we
You can
really?
get a vinyl. Does anyone have a vinyl player among us?
I do.
I don't.
Also follow the Final Fantasy VII Twitter account for more stuff.
Okay, so that wasn't long at least.
FF725 周年ファンの皆様と楽しめるようさまざまな試みを準備しております。楽しみにお待ちください。
Okay, I'm actually interested in hearing about
Ever
Crisis since that's not out yet.
Okay, probably also mention something about the first soldier.
All these
Oh,
months down
maybe
the
this
line,
is the first soldier. Yeah,
It
yep,
is the
it's
first
the first soldier.
Again, I tried it for a bit. It's fine, but it's a battle royale like any other. Sure, it has a couple of things that makes it unique, but otherwise, really not for me.
It's really nothing to write home about. It's not terrible.
It has
it's
a
not
community
amazing
at the very
either.
least, so it's not a thing that is dead on arrival.
Yeah, so they have a reason to keep it going more than the usual. What feels like 6 months that Japanese released mobile games.
No,
get
Square
before
has
they
a
get
good
shut
track
down.
record of actually keeping their mobile games alive for as much as they can. That is one Namco, the one who normally doesn't.
Season 3 underway. Oh, there's even a North American tournament, but I'm not North American, so I can't take part in it. Another
Next.
possibility for a remake.
Oh my god.
Ever Crisis, probably.
So,
there you go.
what, is this them sort of teasing the people who, you know, kind of don't really see the actual remake as a proper remake as opposed to a reimagining?
We'll have to see.
But
Looks
yeah.
like this looks like for some reason the art design for a little bit gave me a vibe of 15 Pocket Edition.
So,
It's not usually the same ideal format, or in this case, only in this case with a fixed camera instead, that doesn't remove. And the combat system instead is similar more to the one of the Nier Reincarnation.
So, I do get what they're doing for the main part of Final Fantasy VII, but it looks like now that they're also going to try and adapt, you know, stuff like before.
They say from the beginning that they're gonna include every bit of the compilation. So before Crisis, Crisis Core, Advent Children, they're just servers.
That's pretty much what I was getting at.
No, but they did mention it from the very beginning.
Oh, look
the
at
whole
that!
setting's
Everyone
on
gets
fire.
alternate costumes.
Gonna need to actually extend the lifetime of the mobile game anyway.
Oh my
My
god.
mother's name was Martha.
But yes. As I was about to say, yeah, pretty much everything is getting adapted into what appears to be a take on the old system of Final Fantasy VII's gameplay, essentially. Now, what I do wonder is how they'll do things, like, well, if they'll do it all in chronological order, or if they'll do it in
at the
about
launch we're having stuff from the original 7 and Crisis Core. If they do it similar to Record Keeper, we might get the stuff in pieces. Right? What?
Okay,
Excuse
who
me?
the heck was that other guy that
Short
they
hair
were?
Sephiroth? What?
What?
Sephiroth had a haircut.
I don't get
Close
it.
beta test this year, still no release date,
現在
damn
配
it.
信中のファイナルファンタジー7
Getting a
The
beta
First
at least.
Soldier の新情報と
Yeah, like I said, Ever Crisis seems like an amazing idea. It's just that, honestly, Ever Crisis may end up being what, you know, an actual remake of 7 should have been, as opposed to the remake stuff. And like I said before, I'm excited for a
Hold
whole...
on,
もちろん
Eh?
私自身も非
Maybe
常
that
に
should
楽しみに
delight
しています
fans. Well, let's hope so. Picking a bold claim like that.
Are you? He
Let me
does it.
guess, part 2.
I mean, at least a teaser.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh, there it is.
The price
His
of freedom
legacy.
is steep.
Oh,
Final
oh
Fantasy
no.
Still doesn't sound good on that. His legacy gave life to
No,
Final
Jova,
Fantasy
it's
VII.
a remaster of Crisis Core, and what we heard was read comments.
I can cut loose, right?
To be fair, I'm not opposed to a re-release of this game.
I mean, it's been stuck on the PSP for how long?
I would be fine if it was just included in the new PlayStation Plus program.
Wait, hold on. Is it a remaster or a remake?
No, the models look like touch up the same way they did for Type 0.
Yep.
Don't you think it's sort of a waste?
Use brings about wear, tear.
I guess did they sort out those supposed copyright issues of one of the characters?
Remember, well, yeah, Gax, it's not just a matter of copyright. He has to mock up and give the voices to the character. So
I guess they must have, though, given how that was one of the main things holding back any re-release of Crisis Core.
Project G.
Again, like I said, I'm not opposed to a re-release of this game, so whatever.
Project.
I'm just wondering what platform it's going to be out on.
Settle down. Zack,
I mean, look at this way too. It makes the game more accessible for people to play.
I will say this, though, it would be such a Square move if they thought that, oh, this is what's really gonna hype people up as opposed to Part 2 of 7 Remake. Oh, don't get me wrong, I like Crisis Core as well, too. That said, though, acting like this will be something that'll please everyone, and I get it, they have to be hype men and all that. But Crisis Core is kind of a bit of a split subject for many reasons. Now, I know what some may be thinking, and yes, a lot of people do love the ending. That's the thing, though. That's mainly the ending. What it takes to get to that ending is about of sort of half and half storytelling, let's just say. Some bouts better than others.
Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7.
I just wish they would have gotten. They would just keep Rick Gomez in.
Nintendo, Xbox, and Steam.
Oh, I definitely agree that they should have kept in Rick Gomez.
Oh, there's one more.
さて、次の映像が最後の情報
Let me
で
guess,
す。
they're just Cerberus too.
それではどうぞご覧ください。
Huh.
Wouldn't that be a twist?
Yeah, probably part 2 now.
What we've done, that's set in stone. The past is forever.
Huh,
The
yep.
future, even if it has been written, can be changed. So focus on the future, not the past.
He wants to finish what he
I
started.
wonder if they're seriously about to commit to this
He wants to
being just
reclaim his
a completely
birthright.
different venture.
Ooh, goody, let's see.
With
Yeah,
Genova
we
at his
start. We
side.
probably will start with an Evoline flashback.
I saw you lying there.
Well, we know what
I
Sephiroth's
figured it was too
endgame
late.
is.
Wait,
Or do
what are you
we?
implying? That I died?
Well,
That I'm
it
some
wasn't
kind of
Eric you were
imposter?
playing with. It was actually sister.
Wait, hold on.
You were here with me.
Aerith seems
5 years
to be
ago.
taking issue with the fact that we recall
are
her
you?
dying.
What
I
happened?
think
to
that's
you?
actually Tifa that said that,
I'm
actually.
trying so hard
Yeah, I
to
remember
find
about
you.
the Evoline flashback.
Sorry. Feel like I failed you.
Huh.
Available next winter on PS5.
Well, that was certainly a CGI trailer.
All right,
So-
next. So winter
2023.
ファイナル
Yeah,
ファンタジー
Winter
7リメイ
2023.
クプロジェク
Okay,
ト
I
の
guess to be
第
fair,
2
that
作
did
目
have
に
a
あたる
tiny bit of
ファイナル
gameplay
ファンタジ
there.
ー7リバースを発表させていただきました。
Plus, we're like over a year
現在
away
チーム一丸とな
from.
っていい制
from
作
release.
中です
So what's the third part
そ
gonna
し
be
て
called?
リメイクプロジェ
Reincarnation.
クトの
Eventually.
Yeah, it's like how the Matrix sequels had R at the beginning of the third letter.
Wait, hold on.
リメイクファイナルファ
Okay,
ンタジ
so
ー
it will
7
be
リ
three
バース
parts.
そ
So it's
し
a
て
trilogy.
その先のもう一作の全
Oh
3
my
部
god,
作
I thought
作で
I'd
完結
be,
す
oh,
る
I'd
こ
have to
と
be doing
を
5
お知
games.
らせいたします
If I had to speculate, these might end at the Northern Crater, and the last part will be essentially the wrap up of all
お
everything.
付き合いいただければ
I
と
get the idea that making it exclusive onto the PS5 allows
25周年も
more
それ以
briefing
降も
onto the
皆様に
tech.
お楽しみいただけるよう
Yeah, because the best thing about Intergrade to be on the PS5 was how fast everything loaded and how smooth everything was.
I do get the feeling that they are gonna lean into just the whole the future's unwritten thing, so... And again, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with that being the thing. I can get people who are upset with this just not being a straight remake of the original plot, since that's what they were asking for. I guess that's whatever Crisis is gonna be, but, you know, monkey paw and all that. That said, though, we have a name. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay, I thought it was at least a very solid, concise stream. The bits that did need a bit, of elaboration got it, and those that didn't only really got like 30 seconds. And and hey, I'm looking forward to Rebirth, judging from the looks of it, and Ever Crisis looks interesting. Although we still don't have a full release date for it, although we did get a date for the closed beta. And I have been curious about Crisis Core, but not enough to the point of me just running out my way to get a PSP that I don't have anymore, and I'm not sure how expensive a copy is now. So, and hey, it's on multiple platforms.
And like I said, like I'm always up for proper re-releases of games, regardless of the individual game's quality. So like
It is
it's
nice
always good
that
to allow. It's always good to have games more widely available in newer hardware.
So how much do you think they're going to affect the future with this one? Because they definitely are going on about how the future ain't written and everything. Me personally, I'm fine that they do it. I'm personally just excited to see what happens.
I'm still on the idea that it's more of a slight cop-out in a sense of, yes, we are changing the future in a sense, but we are just telling the same events just in a different order. As in, for example, taking the ship from Junon makes us, because we might have a detour, makes the team arrive instead of Costa del Sol at, Rocket Town before, and, stuff like that, potentially.
What do you think, Pedro?
I don't fucking know. But it'll be interesting to see where they go at least.
I just
Like
want
I
Casey
said,
to still be playable.
I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean, we saw him in
He's not liked by the fans, and again, when he came to reproposing for the rest of the compilation, he was never in his original format.
Wait, didn't he show up in Advent Children that one?
Riding Red 13 instead of a Moogle bot.
Yeah. Although to be fair, it's been years since the compilation days. I feel like there's a good chance we'll see Kitsif playable again.
That's really about it. I mean, everything looks promising at the very least. Plus, it was a very concise stream that showed everything it needed to in a pretty quick amount of time. No bloat. So yeah. Well done. A short stream, but it was at the very least at least a good one.
It was fine. Again, I do kind of have to giggle at the fact that they were really hyping up Crisis Core to be the big crowd pleaser. And again, I love Crisis Core myself, but even I acknowledge that game is very split among the fan base. Sans, of course, the ending, which everyone seems to love for obvious reasons. But it's like, I do feel like maybe they kind of overhyped the Crisis Core remastering. Now, don't get me wrong. Preservation is important, and it's nice to see that this will be upscaled and preserved, and I guess they finally worked something out with GAC so that now this can be re-released. I just giggle at how, in Square fashion, they pretty much act like, this is the big crowd pleaser for every single one, because they literally said, I'm sure every single Final Fantasy fan will enjoy this, or something along that line.
Honestly, Jova, considering how many companies considering how there I see a lot of fan bases ask for re-releases of certain games and companies just basically act like they're not listening, I'm at the very least grateful that Square at the very least listens to those people at least.
Like I said, me myself, I'm stoked about this news, and yes, it is good that they're acknowledging its existence. Again, my main bout of just giggling is the fact that they kind of overhyped this one, but you know what? I guess it shows enthusiasm. Speaking of enthusiasm, First Soldier! Yeah, it still is a battle royale. Look, it's fine. It's not for me, and it's nothing remarkable, but I can respect that it does have a fan base, so carry on with that, all fine and fair. Again, Ever Crisis has got to be one of the most frustrating things for Final Fantasy fans, because this is actually the remake that they wanted, only not with as much horsepower as the actual remake has going behind it. Like, right down to the gameplay even being more to what some fans prayed and hoped for. Again, I am excited for Ever Crisis being something that will kind of be able to adapt, like, parts that have never been brought over to the West before. Which does make me wonder, we're probably going to end up covering Ever Crisis in some shape or form for the channel.
Yes, I already called dibs on recording it.
Sweet, yeah.
Remind me, is the game coming out on all platforms?
No. Android and iOS.
Oh, right, it's just that. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that is one thing. I feel like, really? You can't bring this one to consoles?
That's because, again, we're going for an episodic nature.
And I get that, but I don't know. Maybe they'll release a
If you ever
complete.
played another of the Square mobile games, like again Record Keeper, you kind of get already a general idea of what structure we're gonna give to it.
I do feel like it's a major missed opportunity to have this not come to consoles, because despite some grumbling, there are definitely some people still in it to win it.
Well, maybe when they release all episodes, maybe they'll release the entire package. That's a possibility.
That is possible, yes.
Something happened with there actually is a precedent for this, because when After Years released on the for those who don't remember, After Years was originally a Wii game, a WiiWare game. Yeah, remember when before Nintendo completely killed WiiWare's existence, officially speaking. But yeah, it was originally an episodic game that released in was it 4 episodes, Teo? 4, 5?
Oh, multiple. Certainly more than that.
But later they released it, the entire thing, as part of the Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection, and it came entirely. So Square does have a presence of doing that. So it is possible that Ever Crisis might also receive that same treatment.
But honestly, yeah. And let's talk about the real reason people came today. And, it's not even a joke. No, Remake Part 2 was the main reason people were stoked for today. And they did show bits from it. Again, I do wonder if at this point Square are just actively trolling people with whether or not this is going to change the future of whatnot. Again, I'm personally am stoked to see if it does change it. Because, I played the original, so I'm keen with changes. I do get why people are still grumbling about this, though, and I just hope that Square do find a good way to handle it. All that being said, though, it is kind of exciting. And I get why they probably didn't show us more here and there. How do I put it like this? It feels... I guess it's a tease done right, in a sense. I mean, we kind of know more or less how the gameplay already works, so yeah.
Yeah.
I will give them credit. They did answer some questions that they could have easily avoided. No, they actually did make it clear how many parts there are going to be to this remake.
Remember, up until now, I guess, Nomura always said in interview, "Baby, we're not sure because they have to calculate how much do you wanted to put in each part, and as such, how much time will that require to be made." And remember, not only Nomura himself is juggling between this Kingdom Hearts and other minor side project that he's supposed to do, even though now we know that he's not anymore completely anymore in charge because of that. They also had to take into account the fact that next year Final Fantasy 16 is being released, and I can bet anything that is the game that Square is banking mostly on next year. So I'm not really completely on this particular release date, and thinking this might get at least a slight delay.
That said, I'm still calling it now. There's going to be an edition of the game that combines all 3 into one disc or something.
Maybe one disc might be stretching it a bit. Maybe all 3 discs in one box.
I mean, Dwebs, by the time that this trilogy is completed, who knows? Maybe whatever system that it's released on will be powerful enough to have it be all on one disc or cartridge in Nintendo's case. Who knows?
Yeah, the PlayStation 7 probably.
If you allow me, Jova, here's one of the people that I was talking about, our friend Marco, who was listening in our E3 commentaries. just told us that he's right for Crisis Core because it'd be nice to replay that on something that isn't the PSP. So there you go. The basic audience that this message is for, people who have a lot of nostalgia for it and would love to play it again. Basically. Which I'm cool with.
Again, it's like I said, there's definitely an audience. The only thing I'm laughing at is just how much Square hyped it up as something that everyone would be in on, as opposed to, the remake part 2, which everyone had eyes on. But again, like I said, it's a small bit, honestly. And me myself, as someone who may or may not be still recording Crisis Core for the channel, this will make it much easier than having to hook up a PSP emulator. Not that, we don't have good PSP emulators, but being able to do this straight from PC or Switch will definitely be a boon. Yeah, no, I mean, they ended it off nicely. And again, I appreciate that they were at least transparent enough with the stuff going on with the remake, like how much will be left. So hey, if somebody does want to tough it out, now they at least know how many games they'll have to go to wait for that on some record here and there. Also, calling it now, the third part's probably going to be called Reunion. And can you imagine if they'd done the mad thing and actually had put in 7 parts?
It's been a while, but I remember back in 2020 that Kitase talked about it, where they were thinking of potentially making a trilogy. Potentially. They weren't sure yet, but now they are.
Now,
so the trilogy idea was always in the air, but they weren't sure because they hadn't calculated it properly. But apparently now they have. Apparently.
Now, one bout of speculation is, where will Part 2 end? I think it could possibly end at the moment where Aerith is supposed to die. I say supposed to die because there have been a lot of things to hint at that they are going to do something with Aerith's death. Now, again, I do wonder if they may do the extra mad thing and actually put in multiple choice options that could affect the flow of the story. And then from there, it'll be like Mass Effect, where when you hook up and load to like the next section of the game, whatever choices you pick transfer over to that or whatnot. In this case, what I'm wondering more so is if maybe they'll give you multiple choices, like one that might prevent Aerith's death, one that may have it go through, just so that they can give a little something for everyone, like, a route that sends you on the predetermined path of the original 7, or the alternate one that sends you down God knows where because, well, yeah, you prevented Aerith's death, like something like that. Like, again, I do feel like it would be the cop-out of the century if they just had the whole fighting fate thing with the ghosts mean relatively jack-all. Like, and let's be honest, regardless of what they end up doing, I do think it was clear of what they wanted to do based off of the ghost thing. It may get tampered by the backlash, but I will definitely hold that they definitely wanted to veer off based off of how much they really hammered into our heads the whole fighting fate thing. Anyway, that pretty much just wraps up my final thoughts. Tio?
Sure. This was fine. It did not really have that much of what I was hoping for, because I was hoping for a release date for Ever Crisis, but unfortunately it seems that we might have to wait for a full release until next year. Hopefully the beta will not take too long to actually start properly. Who knows? Like I said, honestly, Crisis Core could have easily just be assigned to the new PS Plus, service. So that way it would have been a re-release without having to invest too much time and effort on it. Sure, models touch on everything, but compared to, Type 0, even for the original release, the models were not really that bad. If anything, it was actually assigned as a technical achievement of what it could have been done on the PSP.
I guess you can argue it's made...
Honestly, I appreciate it like this because now everyone gets it across all the systems too, as opposed to it just being locked away in the corner of the PS
And let's not forget that what we mentioned before, that it makes people who are just into the remake extremely confused because of this.
To be fair, To be fair, I wouldn't blame Crisis Core itself for that. I blame that more on just how they've conducted business with the remake. And I don't think that fans of Crisis Core should have to suffer because of that.
But I think their just servers deserved more this treatment than this, to be honest.
It's weird
Especially
because they
because-
did mention Dirge of Cerberus at the start
I mean,
of
it
the
is
show.
even Advent Children, but that wasn't present either.
Wait, why would Advent Children need to be present though? Like that thing's already like out as like.
For all we know, a new director's cut drove. Like, don't tell me that we're not capable of doing that.
I wonder what more they could do to make it more definitive than the, well, already definitive edition.
Show characters. There are a couple of, well, I may explain more when we actually commented on the movie, but there are a lot of scenes where our characters just talking to Cloud from different locations. Having them actually seeing them there and doing stuff will actually be nice. Like Yuffie investigating on the missing children in Wutai, for example.
I can agree with that. I just wonder if they still have the footage handy, or if they would
Well,
actually make new
it's not
footage
even
for
the
that
footage
movie.
having it, just creating it. For the record, again, considering how much the technology has changed over that, I guess, considering it just released like last year, I think, the 4K edition, they seem to be perfectly content with the instead of just remaking the graphical touch-up from the get-go, instead just limiting for the 4K release. So adding new material just with that kind of footage would be probably a non-existent issue at this point. But again, that's just speculation. For the purpose of this, Part 2 seems to be going exactly through the direction that I thought. But again, we will start with the Nivaline flashback, and then we'll resume the action with the party from Calm. And again, we have to wait and see exactly how the game ends. My biggest speculations, like I said, is that the whole fighting fate thing will just, amount to we're gonna visit the same locations just in a different order to spice things up, and Aerith will not die in the City of the Ancients, so that we can justify the mood, the tone at the Icicle Inn, and instead she will die, at the Northern Crater, and that way, Part 2 will end. Anyway, that's pretty much it from me.
That leaves Pedro.
The only so just to answer Teo quickly, I get the feeling Teo maybe their logic is that since they're already implementing Vice and Nero into remake, maybe they think that there's no need for Dirge of Cerberus. I don't know. Maybe that's the only possible reason I can think.
On the contrary, it will be even worse. Remember, Dweebs' entire problem when we commented on Intergrade was not understanding who those people were.
Well, to be fair, wasn't the whole idea to that is going to be explained in Rebirth? Probably that's what I always took. But whatever. I mean, I was always thought that the idea in Intergrade was to present them and then keep the mystery, and then it will be explained in Rebirth most likely. That's what I thought it was going to be. But whatever. That being said, no, I wouldn't mind the Dirge of Cerberus re-release either. The problem is that there's not really that much demand for that one, apparently, from what I can tell. But anyway. My thoughts specifically. No, I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, like, they got to the point. They told us exactly what we wanted to hear. And again, they provide. And again, like I said, as a big advocate for video game preservation myself, I'm very happy to see that Square try their best to sort out the licensing issues with not licensing, but the problems that kept Crisis Core from being re-released. Which is going to please quite a few people, which is always nice in my eyes. Ever Crisis, like I said, it's a shame that that's a mobile thing only for now. However, it's episodic, so it is possible that they're just waiting and then they'll just release the entire package.
We don't know also how the mobile elements will be implemented, because Pocket 715 Pocket Edition operating on a system where it was preset, and similar to Leighton Brothers, the paid stuff was paying each episode. In this, it's episodic in release, but for all we know, it might have the traditional gacha system, as in equipment and costumes in this case. So hard to translate properly on a console.
I guess we'll have to wait and see how things go. So First Soldier is a thing. It's not my thing, but whatever. It doesn't look terrible. Rebirth looks like it's gonna be, again, like I said, I'm at the very, like Joe, I'm also looking forward to the very see where they go with this, because regardless of your because I still think the overall writing in remake was pretty stellar. One of Nojima's best scripts in a while, and they did a really great job capturing the personalities of the characters. So I'm looking forward to really seeing where they're going with Rebirth, at least, because they did at the very least prove with Remake that they're capable of writing these characters properly in that game at the very least. So there's that. The only real thing is that they didn't really show how exactly word traversal was going to work. I mean, probably instead of a world map, they're probably going to do a Dragon Quest XI, Tales of Arise type thing where there's kind of like world fields in between towns, most likely, instead of having a proper world map or open world, probably.
I wonder if they may just forgo the world map thing and have it be, okay, kind of similar to how Remake went, where we have these general areas where we can do our side quests in, but then when we want to move on, then they give a sort of masked, but still kind of linear path into the next segment of the story.
Like I said, I feel like games like Dragon Quest XI and Tales of Arise did find a good enough balance of keeping things focused, but at the same time not making it too linear. So I feel like if they do something like Tales of Zillia is also a good example of that. So I feel like if this game goes that route, sure, that's fine. I mean, this game already has a lot to juggle anyway, so I feel like it's a fair enough trade-off. So yeah, again, as long as they retain the same amount of variety in mini games and side quests that we saw in Remake, then I'm sure it will be fine. Who knows? Like I said, like me and Teo saw in Brando SP's review. Who knows? Maybe the original 13 would have been like the first, like Remake, if they were able to properly finish. If our fearless leader wasn't a fucking dunce, but. We already talked about that in the playthrough.
And to be fair to Toriyama, it sounds like he wasn't the only factor working against that game.
He wasn't, but he definitely was one of the big factors by not, planning shit out with the team, but whatever.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
If you want more details about it, check out our Final Fantasy 7, our 13 run that we're doing right now, where I recap the development of that game, so you guys can get a good idea of that. But anyway. After this, Rebirth looks like it could be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not as excited for it as 16 because 16 looks bloody amazing, but definitely looking forward to seeing where they go. Definitely, so should be interesting at the very least. Aside from that, yeah, not really much to say. The merch looks fine. It's not the kind of thing I usually buy, but yeah, it looks good for what it is. No complaints here. So yeah, I don't really. Again, it was about exactly what I expected. They basically came in and they were short and to the point, and they showed you here it is, here's what it is, and there you go. So yeah. So to be fair, I will argue they did deliver on what they said they would. They said, it's only going to be 10 minutes, but we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about, and they did. So yeah, no complaints here. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They did it well, and I don't really have any complaints.
All right then. Well, that was the Square Enix Final Fantasy VII stream anniversary. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for whatever comes next.
Yeah.
See ya.